been a traditional bowl week for us, with the exception of one day we had a little rain, which was good. It allowed us to give the players a break on their legs. But for us, it's been a very traditional week, and our players have been very enthusiastic. And as I had said throughout the season, I've enjoyed the time that we've had with them and/or I've had with them. Their willingness to compete and stay focused and prepare for the bowl.
Questions, if you will identify yourself before you ask your question.
Coach, Darren Miner from Payne Media Group. We're through the first year now of the new situation with the redshirt rule. I'm curious now that we're pretty well through that. Give us an idea of how you think it's worked, and would you tweak it in any way?
I think it's a good rule. It needs to be tweaked. In my opinion, it needs to be for athletes that are in their first or second year. I think when you push it past that, then you get into for lack of a better term, Plan B in the old NFL, where you can pick guys up and guys can leave and play. I don't believe in that. I think there needs to be more loyalty to the organization. But I think it has been good. It saves legs on players. We're at 85 scholarships. In my opinion, we should be at 95 based on the way the game's played. There's so many more plays in a game than there were even 10 years ago. If you're not going to add scholarships, then we need to increase the availability we have of players in games. And I don't know why you just don't have 5 years of eligibility, to be honest with you. But I'll take the 4, but it needs to be tweaked.
Edward Ruther, Candidate News in Columbia. Last time you played Missouri in a bowl game, Gary Pinkel was the head coach. What have you seen similar and different between a Gary Pinkel Missouri team and a Barry Odom team on tape?
Oh, there's a lot of similarities athletically. You know, coach always had really good inside guys that were undersized and played really hard. In fact, some of them are, I think, still playing in the league today. Had pass rushers on the edge. We're very well coached, and I see that with Coach Odom and his team. They've implemented a really good offensive scheme. Their quarterback's a really good player. Could very well be the first quarterback taken in the draft. So you're seeing a team that's matured. It looks like they're starting to adapt to his style and his philosophies. It takes a few years to get going as a head coach. So there's some similarities there. Coach Pinkel was a heck of a football coach. He had a lot of success at Toledo, came into Missouri and had really, really good football teams. So it's a different look offensively a little bit, but athletically and the way they play, very similar.
Coach, Peter Bow at the Kansas City Star. You guys have gone up against some really good quarterbacks this year, like Will Greer, Kyler Murray. How does that kind of help you prepare for going up against a quarterback like Drew Lock?
They're all different. You know, obviously with Kyler's ability to play the game the way he plays, and Will Greer's would be more like this one, in that they have the ability to run a little bit and move around and make a play. Not going to do it a lot. They want to do it inside the 12-yard line. So you have to plan for each one of them differently. But you know, he's a really good player, and probably going to play this game for another 10 or 12 years.
Steve McGarvey, Associated Press. I was wondering how you thought about where your rushing attack is at right now without Dylan Williams. How's the guys filling in and kind of looking practices?
Well, Chuba's done a good job, and you know, obviously when you don't, you know, when we lost Justice, that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he's a fantastic player. I mean, he's a guy that's good enough to play in the NFL. He's not with you, then you're certainly not going to be as good at rushing the football as you were if he were here. But Chuba and LD have stepped up, and they're the guys that are in our program now. We're coaching them, and we have confidence in their ability to rush the football.
Hey Mike, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. I asked you at signing day about the importance of this game for players. Let me follow up on that 2 weeks later. What's the importance in your mind for you for the program? I mean, a win is a winning season, a loss is a losing season. Just put it into context for me from the program standpoint to win this game for you, for the program.
Well, I'll say the same thing I said then. Every game's important. And the most important thing that we can instill in our players is the willingness to prepare and compete. And that's the responsibility we have in every game that we approach. And it's been that way ever since I've been the head coach, going on 15 years now. So every game matters. You know, beyond that, I don't know. I wouldn't even begin to say one way or the other with the young men that we coach now. We win this game, we start in the middle of January in winter conditioning. If you don't win the game, you start in January in the middle of winter conditioning. That's just kind of the way it is. But every game's important. We want to go out and compete. We want to play hard. We want to have a clean game and play the very best football that we can.
Do you feel like fans may look at this season different if it's a 6-7 season versus 7-6? Do you have any
Feel like who?
fans?
Do you want me to remind you how much that I'm concerned about?
Yeah.
They do buy the tickets and make the donations.
I have to be concerned with what's going on internally in our organization and not people outside the program.
Mike, you had a lot of practices back home, got to see a lot of your younger players. With that red shirt rule and knowing there's a lot of guys on your squad that can play tomorrow and they're still red shirt, did you find some that might help you against Missouri?
No, we won't have any changes as far as guys that are starting new games or playing like that. This bowl game, being as late as it is, allowed us to really practice and have another spring ball, as I've said several times, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. But for the most part, we have the guys that are playing in the game, and that kind of goes back to what Jenny said, and the fact that we're going to put the players out there that we feel like give us the best chance to perform and win the football game. And in most cases, it won't be a player that had